You have excellent taste in sushi. Samantha. But maybe not in men. Nathan's voice was smooth. Too smooth. Like the polished lacquer of the counter we were sitting at. The obsidian room was the kind of place where silence was the most expensive item on the menu. 32 seats. Omakase only. And a waiting list that stretched 6 months. I'd pulled every string I had to get us a reservation for tonight because I thought tonight was special. I thought tonight was the proposal. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He was wearing the vintage watch I'd bought him with my last bonus. A 1964 Hoyer that cost more than my first car. It looked good on his wrist. It looked good, and he knew it. I'm leaving tonight. Sam. My fork paused halfway to my mouth. I didn't understand. Leaving like a business trip? No. Leaving us. Leaving you. He took a sip of sake. Savoring it. I met someone. Her name is Chloe. She gets me. Sam. She understands my vision in a way you stopped trying to years ago. We're flying to Tokyo tonight. First class. The Amon. We're going to build something incredible together. Chloe. The name hit me like a physical blow. Chloe wasn't just a name. Chloe was 23. Chloe was the marketing intern I'd hired 6 months ago. The one I'd mentored. The one I'd defended when HR wanted to fire her for being late 3 times in her first week. Chloe, who called me her work mom. Before we see how Samantha handles this, drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. I'd love to know who's part of our community. Nathan stood up, adjusting his cuffs. Don't make a scene. Sam, it's beneath you. You're a director. Right, act like one. He dropped a napkin on the counter. Not even looking at me. I watched him walk out of the restaurant. The heavy door closing behind him with a soft, expensive thud. I sat there for a moment. The taste of premium tuna turning to ash in my mouth. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt a cold, creeping clarity settle over me like a frost. I paid the bill. Of course I paid the bill. I walked out into the San Francisco fog. The damp air clinging to my skin. The city was muffled. Gray. Indifferent. My phone felt heavy in my pocket. I pulled it out and unlocked it. My fingers moved automatically. Opening the company admin app. I needed to see. I needed to know. I scrolled to the credit card authorizations. There it was. A corporate Amex Gold. Issued 3 weeks ago to Chloe Miller. Authorized by Samantha Vance. Purpose local client entertainment and development. Limit $50,000. I'd signed off on it because Chloe had pitched a series of dinners with local tech incubators. I'd been proud of her initiative. I'd been a fool. I tapped on the transaction history. My breath caught in my throat. All Nippon Airways. First class. The suite. 2 tickets. $28,000. $500. Amman, Tokyo. 5 nights. $19,000. Cash advance. $1,000. Pending. 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 The timestamps were from this morning. While I was in a strategy meeting. While I was planning our future, they were booking theirs. With my budget, I looked at the flight status. Anna Flight 8. San Francisco to Tokyo Narita. Status boarding. They were getting on the plane right now. Probably laughing. Probably toasting with champagne I was paying for. It wasn't just a breakup. It was grand larceny. It was identity theft. It was a professional execution. I stood on the corner of Market and 3rd. People rushing past me. And I felt a strange, detached curiosity about my own life. How did I get here? How did a woman who manages multi-million-dollar global brands, who spots market trends before they happen, miss the rot in her own living room? It's the frog in boiling water. Isn't it? You don't notice the heat when it rises by degrees. Nathan didn't start as a leech. When we met 5 years ago, he was charming. He had big ideas. He was a consultant. It sounded vague, but promising. I paid for dinner because I made more. Then I paid for the vacation because I wanted the upgrade. Then I paid the rent because his crypto assets were illiquid. It became a habit. Then it became a dynamic. Then it became a rule. I had subsidized his lifestyle, his wardrobe, his ego. And now, I was subsidizing his exit. I looked at the flight status again. Gate closed. They were locked in. They were safe. Or so they thought. I put my phone away and hailed a cab. I didn't go to the airport. I didn't go to his apartment. I went home. To my apartment. The one I bought. The one I paid for. I had work to do. I poured myself a glass of water. Not wine. Wine is for people who want to numb the edges. I needed my edges sharp. I needed to be a blade. He said at me, "Disc." The glass surface cool under my forearms. The apartment was quiet. That expensive. Soundproofed quiet. I used to love, and now felt like a vacuum waiting to be filled. I opened my laptop. The screen glowed. A blue square of logic in the dark room. I pulled up the flight tracker. Anna Flight 8. It had pushed back from the gate. It was taxiing. I watched the little plane icon inch across the digital tarmac. They were strapping in. Nathan was probably adjusting his seat, making sure he had enough legroom. Chloe was probably taking a selfie, tagging it "New Beginnings." I didn't feel anger. Anger is hot and messy. I felt cold. I felt precise. I opened my email and started a new draft. To Chloe Miller. Subject: termination of employment. The body of the email was short. Dear Chloe, this email is to inform you that your employment with the Global Brand Strategy Division is terminated. Effective immediately. Due to gross misconduct and fraudulent misuse of company funds, a formal demand for repayment will follow. I didn't send it. Not yet. I minimized the window. Then I picked up my phone and dialed the number on the back of my corporate card. Not the general customer service line. The executive concierge line. The one that answers on the first ring. Good evening, Ms. Vance. A polite voice said, "How can I assist you? I need to report unauthorized activity on a supplementary card." I said. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Flat. Professional. Cardholder Chloe Miller. One moment. Please. I heard the soft click of keys. I see several large pending transactions. Ms. Vance. An airline charge and a hotel booking. Were these not authorized? No. I said. They were not. The employee has been terminated for cause. These charges are fraudulent. I understand. I am flagging them now. The card is deactivated effective immediately. We will initiate a chargeback investigation. Thank you. I said. Please make sure the hotel is notified that the card is invalid. Of course. Is there anything else? No. That's all. I hung up. The trap was set. The card was dead. The hotel booking would bounce the moment they tried to check in. But the flight? The flight was already in the air. I watched the tracker. The little plane lifted off the runway, climbing over the bay, turning west, out over the ocean. I could have sent the email then. I could have blown up their phones before they even reached cruising altitude. But I didn't. I waited. I watched the icon creep over the coastline, leaving the solid ground of California behind. I waited until the blue of the ocean swallowed the map. I wanted them comfortable. I wanted them to think they had gotten away with it. I wanted them to drink the champagne and eat the caviar, and sleep the sleep of the smugly victorious. I wanted them to wake up to a nightmare they couldn't wake up from. So I sat there, in the dark, watching the little plane move, pixel by pixel, into the void. 6 hours. That's the magic number. It's the point in a trans-Pacific flight where you are mathematically closer to Tokyo than you are to San Francisco. It's the point of no return. I watched the little airplane icon on my screen cross that invisible line. They were deep in the void now. The sun would be setting behind them, chasing them into tomorrow. I imagined the cabin of the ANA flight. The lights dimmed. The hushed service. Nathan was likely asleep, sprawled out in the lie-flat seat, dreaming of the empire he thought he was about to build. Chloe might be watching a movie on her company-issued MacBook. or scrolling through photos on her company-issued iPhone, planning her Instagram captions. Office with a view. People ask why I waited. Why didn't I stop them at the gate? Why didn't I scream and shout and cause a scene at airport security? They think it's cruelty. They think I wanted them to suffer. And maybe a small, dark part of me did. But mostly, it was strategy. It was the sniper's pause. My old mentor, a woman who could silence a boardroom with a raised eyebrow, taught me that, she said, Samantha, never fire a gun when you can drop a net, and never drop the net until the prey is too far from the burrow to run back home. If I had canceled the cards while they were still on the ground, what would have happened? A fight. A scene. Nathan would have wheedled. Chloe would have cried. They would have taken an Uber back to my apartment. They would have been my problem to solve. My mess to clean up. I would have been the angry girlfriend. The unreasonable boss. But by waiting until they were 35,000 feet above the Pacific Ocean, I changed the geography of the conflict. I wasn't stranding them in an airport lounge. I was stranding them in a foreign jurisdiction. I wasn't just cutting off their funds, I was cutting off their retreat. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. If I showed them mercy, if I saved them from their own theft, I would be being cruel to myself. I would be being cruel to the team that actually does the work, to the company that trusted me to steward its resources. I had to protect the castle. And sometimes, protecting the castle means letting the invaders cross the moat before you pull up the drawbridge. I looked at the draft email. It was still waiting. Termination of employment. I thought about the first day I met Chloe. She was wearing a blazer that was too big for her, holding a notebook like a shield. I saw myself in her. I saw hunger. I saw potential. I taught her how to read a profit and loss. I taught her how to negotiate. I taught her that in this industry, your word is your currency. And she used that currency to buy a first-class ticket to my boyfriend's bed. I didn't feel sad anymore. I felt surgical. I clicked send. The email whooshed away. A digital bullet flying faster than sound to a device currently cruising at 600 miles per hour. But I wasn't done. The termination was just paperwork. The real consequence had to be immediate. I opened the IT admin portal. As a director, I had override access for my team's devices, security protocols, in case of theft or loss. And this was theft. I located Chloe's MacBook Pro. Status online. Using in-flight Wi-Fi. I located her iPhone 15 Pro. Status online. I selected both devices. I hovered over the command, remote wipe, divided by factory reset. I imagined the scene. Chloe, sipping her champagne. Maybe drafting a pitch deck for Kurosawa Corp on that laptop. The screen flickering. The sudden freeze. The spinning wheel of death. And then, black. Nothing. No files. No contacts. No access to her email to see she'd been fired. No access to her digital wallet. Just a brick of aluminum and glass. Nathan waking up, asking what's wrong. Chloe tapping frantically on her phone screen. Watching it reboot into a factory setting. Asking for a language selection. The panic rising in her throat as she realizes she is cut off from the cloud. From the company. From me. I clicked execute. The screen confirmed wipe command sent. Success. I closed my laptop. The apartment was silent. But it wasn't empty anymore. It was full of a heavy, dark satisfaction. The trap had snapped shut. They were flying into the sunrise. But for them, the lights had just gone out. 12 hours. That is the flight time from San Francisco to Tokyo. 12 hours of silence where I slept the sleep of the righteous. And they sat in a metal tube hurtling toward their own destruction. When I woke up, the sun was streaming through my blinds. Crisp and bright. My phone, which I had left on the kitchen counter, was vibrating. Not a ring. A continuous, angry buzz. I made coffee first. I didn't rush. I let the machine hiss and drip. I poured a cup, took a sip, and only then did I pick up the phone. 73 notifications. It started with confusion. Nathan. Card declined at the hotel. Call the bank. Then irritation. Sam. Pick up. The Aman won't let us check in without a valid card. This is embarrassing. Then, the dawn of panic. Did you cancel the card? Are you crazy? We are in the lobby with our luggage. Then came Chloe. Her messages were different. They were frantic. My phone is bricked. It won't turn on. I can't access my email. I can't pull up the reservation number. Did it do something? Please answer. I scrolled through them like I was reading a morning news feed. Detached. Interested. But not involved. I received a ping from a contact of mine in Tokyo. A concierge I'd worked with for years on brand activations. He sent a simple text. Your associates are currently making quite a scene at the Aman front desk. Personal debit cards declined. Insufficient funds. They are being asked to leave. I replied with a single thumbs-up emoji. They were stranded in one of the most expensive cities in the world with $50,000 worth of luggage and 0 yen. My doorbell rang. It was Leilani. She didn't knock. She just leaned on the bell until I buzzed her up. Leilani is a partner at one of the city's most vicious litigation firms. She walked in wearing a silk robe over her suit, holding a bottle of champagne and a legal pad. I heard you went nuclear, she said, setting the bottle down. I'm here to handle the fallout. And to drink to it. It's not nuclear, I told Leilani, handing her a coffee. It's a correction. We sank into my sofa as I showed her the texts. She let out a sharp laugh. They're stuck, she said. Nathan's assets are frozen from that crypto probe. And Chloe's on intern wages. It gets better, I said, leaning forward. Why do you think they went to Tokyo? Nathan hates long flights. Chloe doesn't speak Japanese. Leilani's expression sharpened. The Kurosawa account. Exactly. Kurosawa Corp., the whale client, I'd been preparing for months. Chloe had shadowed me. Had access to everything. And 3 days ago, she downloaded the portfolio. She stole the pitch. Leilani said. She stole a pitch. I corrected. Adekoi? I created a duplicate file when I saw her snooping. Identical visuals. Identical data, except for the Trojan horse buried in slide 14. When Kurosawa ran their usual simulation, the projections would crash. A supposed profit would show a 400% loss. She'd look incompetent to a room full of meticulous executives. 2 hours later, I received a forwarded voice memo. A rival agency contact had been sitting in the meeting. I pressed play. Silence sharp. Deadly silence. Then Chloe's voice. Panicked. The numbers worked yesterday, a calm. Icy reply followed. This is a fundamental error. Ms. Miller. We cannot continue. She tried to drag me into it. That sealed her fate. By the time I checked my phone, both she and Nathan had shifted from rage to begging. Nathan, the hotel kicked us out. We can't get a flight home. Please. Sam. Chloe, I just wanted to be you. Please don't ruin my career. I felt pity not for them, but for the version of me who once would have saved them. Instead, I sent Chloe a single message. You didn't want to be me. You wanted the results without the work. Nathan got a different reply, a formal demand letter. Wushar Meiyuan. 000 owed. 30 days to repay before I filed charges. Then I turned my phone off. 3 months passed. The scandal settled into a cautionary tale. Nathan moved into a shared house, calling himself a mindfulness coach. Chloe disappeared to Ohio. Her career scorched earth. I, on the other hand, was promoted to vice president. The board saw not chaos leadership. My first act, the Tokyo Protocol, strict ethics training and airtight security for interns. One evening, in my corner office overlooking the Bay Bridge, I realized I hadn't lost a boyfriend or a protege. I'd lost dead weight. What remained was space to build, space to rise, space to be exactly who I am. Revenge isn't fire. It's what's left after the flames die. Clarity. Tell me what's the one boundary you refuse to let anyone cross in a relationship.